Hi, I'm George Wieland E. Molina, your teacher. I am here to teach you everything that you need to know about basic Adobe Photoshop. Lesson 3 is all about the importance of Adobe Photoshop. In this particular lesson, we will tackle about the importance of Adobe Photoshop, why why do we use Photoshop, the 10 commandments of Adobe Photoshop, and I will show you some sample projects that I've created using Adobe Photoshop. At the end of the lesson, we will have a short quiz. First, let us have why Photoshop. I have created a SWOT analysis for you considering its strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. Let us first tackle the strength. For the strength, I choose the color blue, representing the advantage of Photoshop. So as a strength, it is popular these days for it helps designers and editors in their works. It is user-friendly and it provides tools that will aid you in editing and enhancing of photos. You can do layout and designing from a blank document, whatever the size you may want. As powerful as it may seem, Photoshop do also have its weakness. There are many different tools that do very different things. It is very confusing. You will take long time to learn how to use each one correctly. And it is not free. It is a proprietary software, meaning the source code is a secret. And it is relatively expensive. Opportunities for Photoshops are as follows. The knowledge and skills in Adobe Photoshop has helped so many artists to earn money and to have pride in their works. It is a career-based knowledge. Can be a source of income or can be a tool for business opportunities. There are several things that you can do in Photoshop. You can either choose it as a professional career or you can make a business out of it. Finally, we have the threat. There are many free, lower-cost graphic photo editors that exist as a competitor to Photoshop. It requires a well-equipped computer, high-end as we say so. It takes up a large space of room in your memory. That is why some of the computers are lag. As we can see, Photoshop is a very powerful tool, but it also has its own disadvantages. Those advantages makes Photoshop very unique and effective, but those disadvantages are things that we need to consider before we use Photoshop. Now let's go to the importance of Adobe Photoshop. Why is it really important? How come it is said to be one of the powerful tools in image editing? I have cited 10 particular statements that can justify how important Adobe Photoshop is. First, you can express yourself creatively. As a designer, you possess your own creativity. And Photoshop is a particular platform in which you can showcase your creativity. Second, you can create different graphic design projects. Projects that are intended to boost your career or basically projects that are intended for business. Third, you can restore old photos. Your old family photos, your grandma's photos, your last Christmas photos. You can basically restore them, recolor them, and as we say it now, you digitize them. Fourth, you can artistically combine graphics with text. Most of the projects of Photoshop includes images and text. Fifth, you can make artwork using brushes. If you are really into sketching, Photoshop can be one of your canvas. 6. You can change the color of a picture from colored to black and white, from black and white to colored, or from one color to another, considering duotones, tritones, or even quadtones. You can correct photography mistakes. Example of it is the red eye effect, in which light transfers to the eye when captured. Number 8, you can do t-shirt designs. Different creative designs. From your own mobile or your own computer, you designed it and then you can transfer it to a t-shirt. Number 9, you can transform pictures artistically. You can even manage to adapt your own picture to a movie poster or a magazine design or even a billboard poster. And number 10, you can have your own personal fulfillment. As creative as may it seems, we should always have our own fulfillment, in which each project is a signature of ours. There are also 10 commandments of Adobe Photoshop that needs to be followed. I have researched something about it from digitalsynopsis.com. Let's start. First, name your files appropriately. Instead of having Untitled 1, Untitled 2, name it as relative as it is. Example, project1.psd. Next, label your layers appropriately. Instead of having layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, name it as relative as it is. Example, layer for face, layer for head, button, image, text, or logo. Next, organize layers into folders. You can basically group them according to their place on your canvas. Example, header, body, or footer instead of group 1, group 2, or group 3. Next, avoid permanent changes to images, especially colors and text. You can either use mask or adjustment layers. Save all assets relevant to your PSD, just like your high-resolution images, your fonts, and even your logos. Next, mask only once whenever possible. All you have to do is basically group all the layers, then mask those particular layers that are in group. Do not put mask, especially 20 masks, on 20 layers. You can also save your work path. You can double click on the work path, then rename it. Next, you have to lock important layers. Use lock to preserve the positions of the images or the layers. And avoid accidental changes to important layers. Next, delete all layers. Don't get ponder of having multiple layers that doesn't have anything on it. You have to delete it. And lastly, never ever 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 stretch images and text. Next, I will show you my own personal collections of projects that are used for academic purposes and for my own business. You can always create tarpaulin designs using Adobe Photoshop. And even ID layouts. Even informative flyers that can be given on terminals and subways. You can also create invitation cards for birthday, for wedding, and even for baptism. Create logos for your clients, and even organizational chart. You can also do program invitations for ceremonies and programs, and even packaging designs for foods and products. You can even design t-shirts, even faculty shirts, organizational shirts, or student shirts. And lastly, you can create your own customized, personalized desktop background. I hope you learned something for today, from answering why Photoshop, to the importance of Adobe Photoshop, to the 10 commandments of Adobe Photoshop, and even showcasing my own collections of projects created in Photoshop.